Hello there. Welcome to the Jellyfish Journals. My name is Susie, and I thought what I would do in this video is kind of take a walk down memory lane a little bit, more for myself than you guys. You would have no memory of this because I've never really shown anybody outside of my house this before. But I thought I would just kind of show a little bit of my bullet journaling history. So a little bit of backstory. I started happy plannering, I want to say back in like 2018. I was going through a divorce at the time, and I wasn't quite used to my daughters being at their dad's house every other weekend. It was a little hard to figure out how to fill my time. I want to say at that time, my youngest was 5 or 6 and my oldest was 11, maybe 11-ish, somewhere around there. So, weekends were still busy. We were together, doing stuff all the time. And even if they were just in their rooms, it was just nice to have them in the house. And suddenly they were at their dad's every other weekend. And all that to say, I needed a hobby. I needed something that would fill my time and kind of distract me from the new emptiness in the house. So I got into happy plannering, and if you're interested, I still have all my old happy planners that I did at the time, and I would be more than happy to show those in a video. But once I remarried and moved into my house with my husband and my 2 daughters and his 2 kids, I really didn't have the time to do that anymore. And so, cover your ears. This might hurt some of your ears. I pretty much sold all of my happy planner stuff, kind of for next to nothing on Facebook Marketplace. We needed space. I had to figure out what I had to let go of, and I kind of just decided to just give it up all in one fell swoop. So my stepdaughter is super crafty also. She was more so at the time. Now she's, a junior in high school, so not as much time for crafting as she used to have when she was, I think when we got married, she was probably 9-ish, maybe 10. So she was crafting all the time. And we were trying to condense our craft supplies, so we didn't have too much of anything. And one of the things as she got older that she got into was bullet journaling. And I'd seen it. I had already been watching Amanda Rach Lee forever. And I don't know, I just thought it was something that might take up less time than my lengthy planning I was doing in the Happy Planner with all the stickers. I came to find out, no, I am just very slow. And because I do tend to be a perfectionist in my journals, it really doesn't matter which way I journal. I am slow, and it could take me anywhere from 30, 40 minutes to a couple hours to do a spread or a couple of spreads that I'm really happy with and proud of. So all that to say, I did end up giving up bullet journaling, but for almost a full year, I really got into it. I truly did love it. It just didn't meet my sticker needs as well. And if you follow me now, or if you've seen any of my other videos, kind of what I do now, I feel like is a combination of bullet journaling, happy plannering, memory keeping. It's kind of a mishmash. So I feel like I used to sell creative memories when my oldest was an infant, so 19-ish years ago. And, I guess I just kind of ended up taking a little of what I liked out of each of these things. And now it's taken all this time, but I feel like my style is kind of established now. So anyway, that was a long intro. Sorry about that. Let's go ahead and get into it. So these are 2 notebooks that I purchased at Hobby Lobby. They are the Paper Studio notebooks. Now, honest to goodness, these are phenomenal. I want to say I paid $10 for each of them. There's nothing on the spine. They have the elastic. They have like a little bookmark thing in them. But I've gone back since then because I would be more than happy to keep getting these journals. And the ones I've seen now are blank. These are obviously older, but these were dot grid, and I loved that they were dot grid. It doesn't say what the GSM is, at least not on this. But they're pretty thick. I feel like they're comparable to Archer and Olive. Maybe something to note about these is the dot grid goes all the way up to the edge. So if you like that little border, that's not in there. But I had a little bit of misery with a lectern. I can never say that. Luckstrom, whatever. 927, I think it is. And those pages had ghosting, and I was so brokenhearted. I couldn't return it. I'd already marked up the notebook. So I went out to Hobby Lobby and I found this and I fell in love with it. My stepdaughter made this for me on her Cricut. I just told her I wanted an outline of a succulent. So she made that for me, and I just love how it looks. It used to have whatever the year was, which we'll find out in a minute because I can't remember, on the spine, but that did not stay. It came off. So I have this. We never made one for the other notebook. But once this filled up, I went right back to Hobby Lobby and bought a second one so they would match, because the idea was that this would be 1 year's worth, and that did not work out because I quit. So let's go ahead and take a look through. I'll try not to take too long, but these are used. These are all after the pens. And I'll just kind of show you some of the things that I did. You can see here also, maybe not the best quality, but I could have covered that up with paper or something. It was 2022, so there you go. So post-COVID, a couple years past COVID, and I just remember being so stinking excited. I went out, of course, I bought some Tombos, I bought some mild liners, some Sharpie S notes, and I just had the best time. I think I set up a lot of this over that Christmas break. There wasn't much else for me to do. A new year was starting, so it was kind of perfect. I'm not sure why there's a 1 up there. I am not a page numbering person, so I'm not quite sure what that number 1 is for, because that's not like me to number my pages. I did this little Dutch door calendar thing. This was inspired by someone I found on Pinterest. Again, I didn't keep track of any of it because I had no idea I'd ever be sharing any of this. And this is just where I kept track of birthdays that fell in each month, or anniversaries, things like that. So that was just kind of the intro to 2022. And you can see there is actually ghosting in here. I think it just depends on what kind of markers you use. Most of them are fine. There's little bits of ghosting, but not as bad as that other notebook. That other notebook made me cry. You can see about July was when I faded out here. And part of what frustrated me, and this is the perfectionist in me, I don't know if you can tell, but right here, I accidentally used the wrong shade of pink. And I know it's silly, and I know it doesn't matter because there's only 1 pink here. But guys, I'm not lying when I tell you that stuff will get in my head and eat me up. And I'm working on it, I promise. But it's just who I am. I've also learned to accept it. So please, no comments about letting go of the small stuff. Trust me, I'm very aware. I think part of it is that being a teacher, I have to let go of a bajillion things all day, every day. And so when it's something like this that's just for me, I let this matter to me. And I don't know why, but that's maybe what it is. This is where I had my themes. And you can see I did jellyfish, mushrooms, and so on. And you'll see that as we go through. And then this was just an idea I had. I was going to do this polka dot grid with neon around it. But I will show you. And you'll also start to see why this was taking up so much of my time. So that year, these were the books that I read and the number of pages in each. So, yeah. Not so many, definitely reading a lot more books now. This is one of my all-time favorite memoirs, The Puma Years, highly recommend. And then we got into my first theme. So my theme for January was jellyfish, big surprise. And I think I found this image somewhere online and just kind of mimicked it, so the tentacles were fun. And I did this plaid over here. You can see there are some places the plaid was messed up. Something like that doesn't bother me too much. I know, I never know what's going to bother me or not, so I try to roll. So I did a monthly calendar, some things to remember for the month. This was my mood tracker for the month and some habits. I like this lettering. I should do that again sometime. My line a day, just different thoughts I had. And I love this giant jellyfish, but since January 1st, it must have fallen on, I don't even know, it must have fallen on like a Saturday or something where it didn't line up in 7 days. So I just gave it its own day with one giant jelly. And then I did these little circles with some of the patterns in it or designs in it, and then some tentacles down the middle. And jellyfish, here's another little Dutch door. So this one would last me a couple weeks. And I just mixed it up by highlighting the headers. And then on this week, I did the boxes, things I was grateful for, and then just a full January calendar, which I don't think I did there. So maybe I just didn't know what to put there. And then on to February, where we've got some mushrooms. And this took forever. I think mostly because of these all feel textured. So I'm wondering, like that does not. I think what happened was I used a different color down here for the little stems or whatever they're called. And then I didn't like the color. And so I had to go through with dot grid paper and cover it all up because, again, I won't say it again, but you get it. Use some polka dot washi tape, and I love these drop shadows. I need to do that more. I just love those drop shadow boxes. Line a day. I found this cute picture of a mushroom, so I put that. Oh yeah, and then I did these little mushroom tabs on the side. Like you can see them going all the way down the side. That took forever. You're noticing another pattern here. This was my mood tracker, so this is what I was feeling each day, and then I drew it in for each day. Nighttime routine, not so good at a lot of things like flossing and my foot lotion and my hand cream, but I'm working on it. Still working on it. It's 2025 now. And again, things I'm grateful for. And then these are just my weekly pages. Tried to mix that up a little bit. Aw, see, my husband's still amazing. I love that guy. And I think, I tried to like put the numbers of what week it was to. I like this floaty mushroom here. But I must have messed up real bad because these are all a different color. These are all like, I can feel that I must have covered every mushroom up. And another week. And then this is the end of it. And there's just another picture I printed out and the washi tape. And I tried, I guess, to make sure, things I was praying for, things I was thankful for, and, you know, the mushrooms. So cute. I really do love the mushrooms. And moving on, now we are on a city spread, and I did get this idea from Amanda Rach Lee. I remember that. And I was trying the watercolor feature of Tombow markers. So what I did was I sprayed like a piece of plastic. I'm trying to remember what I used. Not quite what's in an envelope, but like the plastic off of packaging, a flat piece. I really wish I had something handy to show you. But I sprayed it with water. No, maybe I colored on it first with the marker, sprayed it with water, and then I set it down on here. So it kind of gave it a watercolor look. And then I went ahead and did just a city, and again, took forever. And the reason I did a city theme is because I was going to New York City with my best friend. We take a trip every year together somewhere. And that year we were going back to New York City. We've been there 3 times because she has a family member with an apartment there. And so we're able to stay there for free, and the family member vacates while we're there, so we get some time to ourselves and get to walk around the city. And it's an amazing city. My favorite place to go is Tiffany's. I don't always buy something. I can't always afford something, but I just love being in the store. Everything's so sparkly and pretty. It's probably one of the most girly things about me. So that's what this color is from, is Tiffany Blue. More city. I tried to keep this really kind of streamlined, so it had that kind of, I don't know, urban feel. Sounds kind of weird, but just kind of straight edge, simple. I like the spacing here, and then just the little dot instead of a box in each. This was my mood tracker, my habit tracker. This was whether I worked out or not. Again, I love those drop shadows. thoughts, my one line a day, and then I did do a packing list. I don't normally do a packing list when I travel, but I think I had an extra page here, so it worked out. And then I just did this for my weekly, little boxes with city zoom-ins on it. This one's supposed to look like buildings, and then again, I used some of that watercolor technique there. And again, this took a while. I think I had to cover all of these buildings with washi tape. And then when I covered everything with washi tape, then I was able to spray and set it down. It took so long. Here is another weekly spread. And then this is one of my very favorite things I've ever done in a journal. So I wanted a way to document the memories of the trip. And so in the middle of the weekly spread, so the weekly spread is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday through Saturday, I made this little miniature book on the inside. And so I put in some things that we did. So we saw Hamilton. I love riding in the yellow cabs. I think growing up in South Florida, not traveling a lot, that was always a big deal to me. And there we are. We're so adorable. We went to the Friends. Oh, I can't think of it. It was like some Friends drop-in thing where you could like pretend like you were on the show, I guess. The Tiffany box. We did go to Tiffany's because I love to. Just some other pictures, and then I tried to do a Statue of Liberty I found online somewhere. I don't ever draw my own stuff. Totally copied that from somebody. I can't think of things out of my own head. And then this last one, I just did a simple skyline at the bottom. People to pray for, or things I'm thankful for. And then on to April. And in April, I used these washi tape stickers that I got on Amazon. I can see if I can find the link for them, but I'm not sure. But I had this idea to use these bolder colors, cut them out I'm sorry, I just totally lost track of my head. I used these to cut out the letters for April, and then I just used probably Tombow markers. So whatever color the letter was, so like this one's red, has red jets or lasers coming out of it. I don't know, laser sounds way cooler. This one I did a sideways calendar because when I wanted to use these in these colors, it was really making it hard to fit a calendar. So I skinnied up my calendar and did it sideways. My mood tracker, again, guys, I don't know what goes through my head sometimes. It turned out cool, don't get me wrong. But, you know, I thought, oh, let me use a different color of these for that. And so there it is. My different trackers. And then I kind of color coded each week. So this is my line a day, and of course everything's yellow. And then I followed the same theme, but now this one's green, purple, red. And I think I just really wanted to use a lot of these stickers, to be honest. That's where all that came from. And then blue. And then on to May. And in May, I don't remember where I got this idea. I'm not positive this was my idea, but I loved this idea of a little bit of paper peeking through. So you can see I started using some washi in here and then some paper. I think I was just experimenting a little bit. And we've got just this little floral design down here. My mood tracker for the month, habits. And my line a day is at the top because, nope, never mind. I was just kidding. I thought that was a Dutch door, but not yet. I think there is one coming. So my line a day is at the top, prayers and thanks. And you'll see, and you've probably seen this or have seen this if you've watched any of my current videos, but a lot of it is really just, I get an idea and I wanted to try something new, or I want it to look different than it looked before. So this one's the Dutch door. So down here is my week, and then the next week, just kind of keep it simple for myself. This one took forever, big surprise. I know I say that so much, I got to stop saying that. But I've loved the idea of that background being the floral and then these being my daily boxes. And I saw this somewhere else where it kind of spiraled out, not spiraled, more like circled out, I guess. So I just did a little bit there, put the scrapbook paper at the bottom, and then did all the dates with it in different colors. And then on to June. I have probably said this before, but I love bees. I am not a beekeeper. I wanted to be a beekeeper until I read a book about beekeeping, and then I decided it was not for me. But I still think bees are amazing and wonderful, and I think they also make just the cutest theme ever. So I found this advice from a honeybee, and I thought that was really cute, and I drew this hive, again, not from my head. I saw a picture online, and I copied the picture and drew all these little bees around it. There is my calendar for the month. And sometimes, I mean, you could probably see what I mean. Like sometimes my calendar was this way. Sometimes my calendar's on one side. Sometimes there's space on the right or left. And for this one, I just decided let's just spread out the whole thing. My mood tracker or habit tracker, sorry, was these little honeycomb things. I did have a stencil for that. There's no way I drew those by myself. And I don't know, this was fun to make, and I like how it looks. And then I don't feel like this one worked out very well, because looking at it now, all the bees look the exact same color. I think the idea was I would color the bees a different shade of yellow, but I'm looking at it now and they all just look happy. And I'm a pretty happy person, don't get me wrong, but I just can't believe that I was happy for 30 solid days in a row. I mean, everybody has their off days, so not too sure about that, but that was the idea there. My line a day, and then this, I think I printed this out. It says, gracious words are like a honeycomb, sweetness to the soul and health to the body. And that's from Proverbs 16:24. And again, I probably just needed to fill a page, and I just thought it kind of went perfectly, so I drew the leaves around it and then glued that down in the middle. And then here is one of my weekly spreads. So I have the things on the leaves there with a bunch of bees, more honeycombs. I definitely had a stencil for this. More honeycombs and bees. And then this one I love. It took a long time, but this one honestly is still in my head. I still remember it. So you can see 13, 14, 15, 16. So these are the dates. And then the hive flips over like this. And so now it's just the bees. Not like the bees are in the hive, but it's just the bees. And so what I did to make that work is I watched where the leaves would be. And so if you turn it that way, maybe you can see where the leaves and the branch line up. And so it's kind of seamless. You have this giant hive, and then it's just like its own little spread. And then just some honeycombs in the middle. Oh, that's a 30. I was going to say, I don't know why this says BO, but it's a 30. Okay. I did a little bit more reading that year, I guess, so I needed to add that into the end. This was also very good, the Venice Sketchbook. I really liked that. And I did end up reading Throne of Glass because Kindle had a deal where you could get all 8 books on the Kindle for like $8. And I was like, whatever. So I went ahead and did it and didn't realize what a commitment that was, but I did enjoy the series. This was my old Kindle sticker. I had this on the back of my Kindle. I always get my decals and my stickers from Decal Girl. Here's another example of one, just since it's right in front of me. I love them. They're so beautiful. And so I didn't want to get rid of it. When I had to get a new Kindle, I think my other one died or wasn't working or something. So I saved it there. And I guess I was writing down when I sold furniture. Oh, I was remodeling furniture. I do that over the summer sometimes. Honestly, just because I like being outside and I like sanding and staining stuff. So sometimes I'll find a desk or something somewhere at a yard sale. I try to find them pretty cheap. Sometimes a friend, like this one, a friend asked me to redo for her. So whatever. And I didn't have enough room to finish the year, so that was the end of this one. And then I will show you this one. And I'm so happy. It looks like this will be under 30 minutes, this video. So thank you if you're still sticking around. I always try to keep my videos around 30 minutes. So yay. And the inside of this one does not have anything messed up. So I should have just been more careful buying the other one. So I worked on a to be read shelf for that one. It would be really fun now to see if I've read all of these now. I think I have, maybe an exception of a few. Another image I saw online somewhere, and this was the start of what my current bookshelfie is like. So if you have been watching my videos, then you will see this is how my current shelfie works, and I'll just see if I can find it. There it is. And it works kind of the same way. I'm not going to zoom out, but I just fill up the shelf with books, and I write all the titles of the books I'm hoping to get to in the near future. And I just color it as I go, and that's it. There's no meaning to the colors. There's no rhyme or reason to where I put the books. I really like the randomness of coloring, especially like one on top of a stack that isn't red. That just cracks me up for some reason. So all that to say, I think I wish I had gone back. I mean, I could go back and color these now. I really have read pretty much all of these now. So I'm going to leave it though. Left some pages for more things I was reading. That says reading. So I planned ahead this time. And then on to July. July, my husband and I finally got to take our honeymoon in Hawaii. So we were married right at the beginning of COVID. We were supposed to be married in May of 2020. And COVID happened, shut everything down. We were already living together only because the lease at the house my daughters and I were renting, the house had already been leased out to somebody else. We had already started moving all this furniture over to BJ's house, and basically COVID hit. And we could still live in our old house where we were renting. We were fine to stay there, but the problem was at that point, most of our furniture had already been moved over here. So I was now teaching from home. Both of my daughters were doing school from home, and our couch was already over here at BJ's. So we were all sitting on the floor in the living room, really with no furniture, trying to do at-home schooling during COVID. So long story short, we bumped up our wedding date and got married early April. So it took a couple years before we were able to take our honeymoon. So we went a couple years later, and we did go to Hawaii. So that inspired the hibiscus. I also learned hibiscus could be easy to draw, but I think I complicated it. This is our calendar. My calendar, not ours, it's mine. And this was my mood tracker, and you can start to see I started falling off of it. No reason. This was supposed to be a mood tracker lay. I just never got to it. My line a day, which if you follow me, you know I've started incorporating this back into my monthly. Not sure what this was going to be for, but maybe a picture from our honeymoon or something. If I know myself, I probably left space for that. This was probably another space for more memories. That was a weekly spread. And this one, oh, I love this one too. So this reminded me of the hive, but I have these days here. I really don't know what all these empty spaces are for, guys. This is driving me crazy. And then this is the other side. Oh, probably more memories. Yeah. So I could journal what we did, and then journal what we did. And then this would be the rest of that week. And then the idea here, so we went to Kauai, and the idea here was I was going to draw lines out of the map and write down what we did at that place. So we pretty much did go around the whole island. I mean, you kind of go around and back. Like, I think if I remember right, there was a section you couldn't quite go all the way around. But anyway, I thought it would be nice if I labeled, hey, we stayed here, or hey, we did this hike here, or hey, we swam here, or whatever. And that didn't happen. Then I had 18th, 19th, 20th by themselves, apparently, and the rest of that. And this spread. So I set everything up for July beautifully. And then we were on to August. And I'm cutting it close, guys. I'm going to go because here's the deal. I never finished August. So I think this was inspired by my stepdaughter. She was doing something with stars, and I just thought it was really cool. And I wanted to try a window so bad. So I did this window because then, kind of like that beehive, when I flipped it this way, it would blend with the page before it. So there's my wonky star, a place for notes. And if I remember right, that's all she wrote. Yep, that's it. That's the end. So anyway, I, hope you guys enjoyed I guess I like the drawing and playing with stickers. I like both of it. I like both of it together. Just the bullet journaling wasn't for me. Just the happy plannering wasn't for me. And again, just feel free to leave a comment down below if you would like to see my happy planners. I have a couple of those, and you can kind of see how I did that. It is just kind of fun, I think, to see how I used to plan that way and this way, like at different times in my life, and how they've kind of all melded together to create the style you see in my current videos. So anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful day, wonderful evening. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye.